Greetings, my fellow knights. Desire Delonius. I had pizza for dinner. I especially like the stuffed crust. The extra cheese stuffed into it, oh boy, now that really puts it as my favorite food.
Oh shoot, Five Nights at Freddy's turned 6 today. Indie horror games have been around for a while. Games like Slender and Amnesia kind of inspiring people to make some horror games of their own. But then we got a guy like Scott Cawthon, whose main reason to make Five Nights at Freddy's was made to support his family, and to prove some guy wrong. Scott Cawthon, before he even worked on Five Nights at Freddy's, mainly worked on some small games and Christian animations. They didn't do terribly, but weren't super well known either. A few of his games then also had some criticism tied to him, and kind of put him down. So Scott decided to give game development one more try, and he made Beaver Son Does Chores for His Dad the Game. Chipper and Son's Lumber Co. Chipper and Sons is a game where you play as Tyke, Chipper's son, as you complete tasks for him while going on weird dates that he sets you up with at night. Chipper, your son is a literal beaver. He should not be dating a crab. What the actual frick is wrong with you? Soon after he released Chipper and Sons Lumber Co., it was doing pretty well, until someone made a comment on the game saying that the characters looked like creepy animatronics. You pretty much know the rest of the story from here. This actually made Scott feel heartbroken. He was legitimately thinking about stopping making games altogether. But then that night, something snapped in him. He thought to himself, I bet I can make something a lot scarier than that. Boom! A masterpiece known as Five Nights at Freddy's was born.
What an origin story, right? Now the PlayStation Vita's origin story is much lamer. Can't you tell?
Five Nights at Freddy's, for those of you who have been living under a rock, is an indie point-and-click horror game about murderous haunted animatronics coming to kill you while you're a night guard for the pizzeria. I bet Chuck E. Cheese didn't like this premise. Oh wait, they're bankrupt, never mind, they can't have an opinion. Scott began development on FNAF in early 2014, from what I know. He wanted to make enough money to help fund the game, so he put up a Kickstarter for it. It made $0. And people are still buying the original Pimax VR headset, but hey, you don't see me complaining. He began to work with what he had and started working on modeling the characters. Fun fact, he actually was modeling Foxy on his way to his in-laws on a bumpy car trip. As you can see. While working on the game, he actually scared himself a few times on accident by Bonnie.
I can see why that'd make him scary. It's like waking up to the Easter Bunny. You aren't meant to see him!
Scott then tended to have some nightmares about Bonnie. He dreamt he was in his room and had to slam the door shut, but felt uneasy, as Bonnie was already in his room. But he was fine. He woke up safe and sound. Then August 8th came around, and Five Nights at Freddy's was released to the world.
Wait, isn't that today?
Yeah, officially today, Five Nights at Freddy's is 6 years old. I'm 20 and this makes me feel old. I was in junior high when this game came out. After it released though, a few certain YouTubers blew the game into mainstream, namely Markiplier, MatPat, and The Living Tombstone. Not only did these people boost the game's popularity, it boosted theirs back. Markiplier only had, I think, around 1 million subscribers at the time. Take that with a grain of salt though, because I don't exactly remember. MatPat certainly got more subscribers as well, and The Living Tombstone's first Five Nights at Freddy's song sits at over 184 million views.
You know what kind of ruined this song for me? TikTok. I'm glad it's about to get shut down. Are you frickin' kidding me?
As the game grew in popularity, Scott was really surprised. He never expected it to blow up like it did. He knew he had to follow it up with something good. He started teasing Five Nights at Freddy's 2 on his website, scottgames.com, which was set to release in 2015. It released a few months later. Scott, you are a madman. The trailer for the game was insane though. I remember watching it on my way home from school. I was so hyped. Five Nights at Freddy's 2, releasing in November of 2014, was much crazier than the first entry. This was the game that started extending the lore and showing that there was truly something fishy going on behind the scenes.
This isn't funny.
The purple guy was introduced here, along with the toy animatronics. Why did people think Toy Chica was attractive?
A literal robot chicken is going to kill you, and you fall in love with it? You need to seek help.
Also, a ton of people nowadays say FNAF 2 is their favorite in the series, and to that I say,
what?
The second one was pretty good in my opinion, but I liked another one more. We'll get there in due time. So FNAF 2 did well while expanding on the universe and lore. So what did Scott do? Updated his website to say he was offline. Until next time.
What the heck is that supposed to mean?
We all know at this point that Scott was making a third one, but back then, no one knew what was up. He slowly began teasing FNAF 3 with some images on his website. Later down the line, he then teased a teaser trailer for the game. I was hyped again, and was told from multiple sources though that this was planned to be the final game. It was so weird seeing Springtrap for the first time. Remember when everyone called him Golden Bonnie or Hybrid? Yeah, Scott had to clarify that for us. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 then was leaked according to Scott, and he linked to the game. Scott, you freaking genius. It then was actually released sometime in March of 2015. In this one, Springtrap is the only one who can kill you, while the Phantom animatronics, as they were referred to, were pretty much only distractions. I think this mechanic was pretty cool, but it got a little too hectic in later nights. As mentioned before, this was supposedly going to be the final game, and pretty much everyone believed it. Then the hat disappeared, and no one knew what the frick that meant.
Yeah, it's gone. I don't know who stole it. You better get the authorities on this. Freddy's missing his darn hat.
But then, as pretty much with all of Scott's teasers, people brightened it up to find out there was a giant 4 in the background. Some people didn't believe it until this guy showed up.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I first saw the Nightmare Freddy teaser, I was super excited but terrified. I legit got a few nightmares from that night from seeing him. I was 15. Is there something wrong with me?
The trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's 4 really baffled me and left me with more hype than I've ever had with the other games. It was going to be the ultimate FNAF. FNAF 4 was originally teased to have a Halloween release date. Then Scott gave us the game in full in July of 2015. Is he insane?
To give you a perspective, to those of you who remember my FNAF fan game, the Deadly Dare franchise, specifically Deadly Dare 4, that game took a full year for me to make, and it feels much hollower than Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Scott is a coding machine.
Five Nights at Freddy's 4 was deemed the scariest one by fans, and that was Scott's intention. But FNAF 4 had a glaring flaw that I'm really glad he tried to fix in the next one. The story was a little confusing here, don't get me wrong though. The story was pretty much confusing the entire time, but here was a little more so. This was Scott's actual reasoning for making Sister Location later down the line though. We'll get to that game in a second. Scott then decided to make a more light-hearted game since there's only so much dark story someone can take before they begin to go crazy. That game was FNAF World.
I didn't like this game.
Hey, let me explain before you go hounding me in the comments. First off, I love some RPGs. The Mario and Luigi series are really great. And I feel like FNAF could have worked really well as an RPG. I just feel sort of how it was executed and how it was treated made this game not as good as it could have been. Scott kind of rushed the game in my opinion, and it could have been so much better. It also felt a little too short for me. I literally beat it in one day. While yeah, FNAF itself can be beaten in a day as well, RPGs aren't meant to be super short from what I can tell. At least Update 2 for this game made me like it a little more. And then May or so of 2016 hit, and Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location began getting fully teased. This one, while I was excited, felt like there were too many games at this point, so I was beginning to get a little burnt out on the series. Later that year, Scott made a Steam post announcing that the game had gotten too dark for his liking, so he would be releasing 2 versions of the game, a mature version and a more tame version. He then linked the more mature version of the game. So why did we believe him again? Sister Location then was officially released October of 2016. Oh boy, this one was good.
Sister Location is my personal favorite Five Nights at Freddy's game aside from the very first one due to the cool new direction this one took. Baby is my favorite animatronic from this one, don't at me.
This was the first Five Nights at Freddy's game, other than FNAF World, to use voice acting, and holy crap, everyone did an amazing job. Kellen Goff as Funtime Freddy, Andy Field as Hand Unit, Heather Masters as Baby. Other characters, I'm sorry I can't remember their official names or whatever, but oh my gosh, these guys rocked it. The story kind of took an interesting turn. If it even took one at all, I don't know. Scott, was this planned the whole time? The ending was a little confusing again for me, but then in December, Scott released the Custom Night update. Oh, this ending is killer. The epic music, Michael Afton talking to his dad, saying he's going to find him. Gosh, this one was amazing. Then, in early 2017, Scott teased that yet another game was in the works. He just wouldn't stop when stopping. There was also a pretty good look of Baby's new design in a book about the games, published by Scholastic as the Freddy Files. Then absolute silence pretty much the entire year. FNAF fans pretty much lost hope for a new game at this point until late into 2017. Scott said he made a small game for people to enjoy during the holidays, a little Freddy Pizza Maker game. How does he find a way to trick us every frickin' time? Yep, this game in its entirety was Five Nights at Freddy's 6 hidden under a smaller game. This is clever.
Oh, I'm sorry. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator. Sorry for getting the name wrong, even though it's literally called FNAF 6 on the Google Play Store.
This game was a huge surprise. No trailer, not very many teasers, pretty much nothing on it. The entry doubled as a Pizzeria Tycoon and a new Five Nights at Freddy's game.
I personally thought this one was pretty cool. It had some great new mechanics and it pretty much tied the story up.
Scott later on announced that he was making a huge custom night DLC for the game. But it got too big and he had to make a whole new game out of it. Ultimate Custom Night, as it was called, released near summer of 2018, and it was way too hard for me. I haven't beaten a single challenge. Am I a loser? That whole year was absent of FNAF other than the Ultimate Custom Night games, so we all just assumed that there was going to be no more, aside from the side ones that other companies were going to make since Scott licensed the franchise out. June of 2019 rolled around and oh my gosh, I loved this one. Five Nights at Freddy's VR, Help Wanted, now just subtitled Help Wanted without the VR because poor people kept complaining that they couldn't play it, was FNAF's jump into VR. Yep, this was it. This was the game that got me to bite the bullet and buy my very first VR headset.
Yep, it wasn't Half-Life's new game to get me to buy a VR headset. It was a compilation from an indie horror franchise that did it. I'm not as ashamed as I want to be.
I'm honestly really glad I did though. PC VR is so much different than VR with your phone and Google Cardboard. Same can be said with PlayStation 4 VR. FNAF Help Wanted is an amazing change of pace. I absolutely loved everything about this game. Some of you are probably wondering why I'm mad at the people who wanted to play it without buying a headset.
Well, I can think of a few reasons.
First thing, the game was built with VR in mind. Same goes to Boneworks and Half-Life Alyx and some of those other VR games people like complaining about. Yeah, sure, playing without buying an expensive piece of hardware is fun and all, but it's defeating the purpose the game was trying to make. And then second thing, the 2D update broke the VR portion of the game for me. It's probably just me though, but the VR section of the game doesn't work as well as it used to. Now that the flat screen version of the game exists, it's ticking me off, mainly because sometimes it won't let me grab objects, it feels a little laggier than it used to, and some things just don't feel right in my opinion.
At this point, I'm heavily considering getting the Oculus exclusive version of it, because that one is untouched by the 2D version, so it probably works loads better in VR. And I hate to say that because I know Steel will pour their heart and soul into making the game more available to more people.
Later, in October of 2019, the Curse of Dreadbeard DLC was released to the game. Boy, this update was cool! It actually is my favorite part of the entire game, which is weird because the main game was more expensive than this DLC. The main game was $20 from what I remember. This DLC added Halloween-themed stages, and geez Louise, these were a great time. Then next month, Illumix released Five Nights at Freddy's AR Special Delivery.
Oh, what?
I'm really sorry. This one never caught my eye, to be honest. I can understand the hubbub about it, and it's not bad by any means, but it never really interested me. But hey, they got Markiplier to be the game's second trailer, so that's fun. And now, later this year, presumably within the next 2 months, if Funko's leaks are correct, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach will be releasing. While I'm deeply excited for this game, a recent interview is making me a little disappointed. If you haven't seen it already, supposedly Steelwool isn't adding VR support to it, at least not for now, which honestly is a darn shame. I loved Help Wanted's VR section to pieces, and really was hoping for this one to have VR support, but I don't know, we'll have to see what they do.
And here we are, 6 years into the franchise, and it feels like it's going to be around for a while. I'm super thankful to Scott and the franchise, because honestly, I wouldn't be where I am today without it. Thank you all so much for watching. I deeply appreciate it. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe if you like the stuff I make. If you liked it, be sure to like it. It'll mean a lot to me. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike and provide me with some constructive criticism on how I can make these videos better. I'll see you guys in the next one. The next video should be about the NES's success. I don't know for sure though. We'll see what happens. And slay your dragons.